Hi, I'm Bob LedBetter with the Jazz program. Happy to be here today. I'm starting off this series on drum set. Today's first video is going to focus on probably the most important part of playing jazz drums, and that's the ride cymbal pattern. The ride cymbal, as you see, I have two ride cymbals here. A lot of jazz players do. The location of your ride cymbal, for many jazz players, it's important to have it in a comfortable position, which is why a lot of jazz drummers have just a four-piece or possibly two floor toms. But the placement of the ride cymbal right here is much easier to handle than if you have a five-piece and they have the cymbal further over to the right. Makes it a little bit harder on your technique, especially for playing for long gigs. You've probably been taught to play with this kind of a grip here, but we're match grip in the right hand here. Whether your left hand can be traditional grip or matched grip, of course. But when you play ride cymbal, most players turn the hand over with the thumb on top, which is known as French grip. French grip, there's a variety of ways of playing French grip. One way of playing French grip is using the fingers like this. So you keep the fulcrum up at the top of the hand here with the thumb and index, and use the remaining fingers to move the stick. So that's traditional French grip. A lot of drummers use this technique when they play ride cymbal. This grip is kind of what I call a timpani grip, where you grip in the back of the stick and you rotate your wrist like this. I like to do that in slower tempos, medium tempos, and when I get faster, then I shift to the fingers for faster tempos. The other thing I like about gripping it in the back is it gives even more of a stick sound on the cymbal. The next thing about playing ride cymbal is where do you strike on the cymbal? Okay. Now all cymbals can be crashed, which means this, where you use the side of the stick on the cymbal. Of course, you can always play the bell. In certain styles, you can play the bell of the cymbal. So where you play on the ride cymbal is important. If you play, there are different sounds of the cymbal. As you get out towards the edge of the cymbal, you have a lot of low overtones, and it gets a more washy sound. Okay. If you play up close to the bell, it's more trebly, pingy sound. Okay. So most jazz drummers meet in the middle. On the cymbal, you play about in the middle of those two areas. So depends on the cymbal a little bit, but you'll find a place where you get the best. I guess some people use the word woody sound, where you get more stick sound, appropriate amount of stick sound for people to hear what you're doing. And as you know, no ride cymbal is the same. They're all different, and so finding a ride cymbal that gets a good mix of stick sound and overtones and ability to crash on it is nice to find. So this is the place I normally play. The ride pattern is about right there. So I'm going to demonstrate the French grip using fingers. I was using fingers just then. Now I'm going to demonstrate the wrist motion. So it's going to be a little bit heavier sound maybe, and also a little bit more stick sound. Okay. The name ride cymbal came about during the early parts of jazz. If you know much about early jazz, most of the drummers played hi-hat all the time, and early big band music, like you think of songs like In the Mood and stuff like that, the hi-hat's conveying the time, that kind of thing. Well, they used to call the solo the ride. Charlie's going to take a ride at letter B. And so the drummers started playing a different cymbal behind the soloist, and that then became known as the ride cymbals. The ride cymbal is written as a quarter note, dotted eighth, and then a 16th note, then a quarter note, dotted eighth, and the 16th note. And then to the right of it, you're going to see the way it's actually played. So you do not play it as a quarter note, eighth note, dotted eighth, and 16th. You play it in the second example there, which is triplet based. A good way to, I've heard some really great drummers, I think maybe it was Chris Smith, said he likes to use the term doodle-a. So if you're thinking doodle-a, 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 the thing that's good about doodle-a is that the is that third triplet note, and that's how horn players doodle-a, da-doo, da-doo, ba-doo, 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 doodle-a, 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 doodle-a. So while you're playing the right pattern, you should be thinking doodle-a, 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 or triplet, 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 triplet. So now the first thing to do is the right pattern, as you know, you hit every downbeat with your stick, and then you have a skip, what's called a skip beat on count 2 and 4. Let's first, though, focus on the quarter note. So in order to really swing, the quarter note has to be super solid and steady, and you need to also swing the quarter note. And so you're thinking, well, what do you mean there? It's just a quarter note. Well, the way that you subdivide your stick is going to help you swing. So what I mean by that is, as you know, when you play a drum or any percussion instrument, you have to do a prep motion. You have to lift the stick first and then bring it down. So the way that you move the stick in between the notes is important, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So focusing on the quarter notes, what you can do is try to think of on the doodle-a as the stick being up on the ah and down on the 1. So doodle-a, 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 doodle-a. La, doodle-a, 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 doodle. Try that at different tempos. It's a kind of neat little stick. So normally when you play a shaker, you're going to go like, even kind of sound. But if you want to work on that doodle-a, doodle-a, then this will really reveal to you what your stick motion is. So it's really, if you practice this, you'll see it's not so easy at first to get that motion to happen. The skip beat is the, a 1, 2, a 3, 4, a 1, 2, a 1, a 3, etc. So when you're playing quarter notes, you're doing that lift like this we just talked about, and then you add the skip beat. The pattern does not have to always religiously be ding, ding, da, ding, ding, da, ding. Notice I just played a quarter note. So sometimes just playing quarter notes really, really swings hard. You'll also notice a lot of drummers will shift their pattern, based on the music. So it doesn't have to religiously be that rhythm all the time, but that is your primary rhythm of the right cymbal pattern. Imagine again you're playing with a bass player. So you want to really focus on keeping that quarter note always there. So if you accent the skip beat, it kind of distorts the quarter note. I'll show you what I mean by that. So it goes. Now there are people that did that very well. Elvin Jones, for instance, one of the greatest drummers ever. But the style of music he was playing was very free, and it allowed that kind of interpretation. But generally, you don't want to emphasize the skip beat. You want it to be, make sure you're hearing it between the quarters, and the quarter notes are getting their full value, a full impact on each one. So let me just sing that. Kind of thing. Or you can just try singing the ah, like Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas or questions, please feel free to email me. My email should be below. And also recommend or encourage you to subscribe to our UM Jazz YouTube channel. Thanks, and see you next time.